Okay, I think I have a surprise for you guys today. I think I'm about to get somebody on here that I've been trying to get him to get on here so we can talk about the massive crap show that happened when we were at our church, our original fundy, quiverful church. My husband. I'm Suzanne Titkemeyer. I wrote for No Longer Quivering for over 10 years. I'm working on books and other projects right now. And here he comes. You got to pull up, Jim, and I got to move over because you got to be signed. So, hey, Nitwit, welcome my husband, Jim Titkemeyer, and everybody else who's
out there
lurking. You got to pull forward. You can't be seen.
All right.
You cannot be seen. Put your pizza down. Sue M., I know you're not here right now, but look. Pizza with pineapple on it. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, you can get a lot of different stuff at Price Mart now, so however you want.
I'm going to turn a light on.
So you can get a like 18-inch one for the equivalent of about $12. So we like to do that and then eat.
He's an economist. He loves his bargains.
Yeah, pretty thrifty.
He is very thrifty. He's way more thrifty than me. I am very unthrifty. As example, yesterday, I bought the cutest thing. I think he thinks that I'm probably wrong for doing this. But look at this cute little backpack. It's for kids, but it fits me. I'm short. Hey, Nitwit. Say hi to Jim. Okay. Now I want to ask you.
Nitwit. I hope I'm not offending you. Is that their name?
Yeah. Oh. That's her name, as a knit.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Okay. I wanted to let him talk a little bit about what it was like at our old church. You've heard my take on this. You have visit. I can get a corn and soybean pizza. Oh, that actually sounds interesting. You've been knitting for 40 years. I've been crocheting about that long.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask him on camera about our time at the church.
Yeah, this is unrehearsed, by the way.
I just pulled him on. I just pulled him in.
I don't have any idea of questions or anything. So
well, like I said, the questions are simple.
All right.
What did you think we were getting into when we first joined Raccoon Ford Christian Fellowship? And I'm going to use the name because the church is gone. Yeah. They're completely gone now.
Well, we are attending a Presbyterian church, and to be honest, it was kind of dull. I mean, it was like the people were doctors and lawyers and very well off, but they just didn't seem to have a lot of excitement. So a very close friend invited me to go to Raccoon Ford. And I loved it from the start because, I mean, they had softball. I love softball. I had men's groups, men's breakfast, home group, all kind of stuff we didn't have. There was a lot of excitement there. So
excitement.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and just friendly people, and it just was like a small country church, and so yeah, I think it's easy to fit in. So it was the first few years were very good, and I don't have any complaint at all about then. It was only later it started changing. So
what was the theology like at first there?
Well, I'd call it like country church theology. Nothing too radical.
So pretty much standard you'd see across the board. It'd say Baptist churches, Methodist churches, whatever.
Just small church feel.
Small church feel. And yeah, so there was anything that you weren't on board with right away?
No, nothing weird or nothing. It's just small church and very active and nice folks. So I would say from we started in 1995 until certainly through like 1999, 2000, and then some changes started happening. But by the time I left first in 2000,
you did leave first.
In 2006, it was like, I got to get out of here. I mean, this is.
At what point did the theology change enough that it just threw you off? Can you pinpoint a moment?
Starting in the early 2000s when they really did this miraculous healings and believing people could get healed, and then
the feathers and gold dust and gems from the ceiling. Do you remember all of that?
Yeah, there were just a lot of weird stuff that people. I mean, it was what I would call cognitive dissonance. In other words, you're seeing stuff and you want to believe it, and you want to, but in your mind you're going, I don't really believe it. And it worked up until it got really serious. I just couldn't deal with it anymore. But yeah, I mean, actually, like I took notes for speeches, and then I would send them out,
Sermons?
and yeah,
Yeah.
he would say like do predictions, and then do like so all these people have been healed, and like I look, my best friend's wife had MS, and she I mean, it's like when you want to heal her first, she only got worse, but there was always a reason, and it was like I'm not really buying this, and I guess the one that really tipped me over was when and he shows up at one meeting and he says, so I had a book I wanted to do. One of the others had a book he wanted to do. And he showed up and said, no, I think we want to do this book. And I'm like, well, that's kind of crappy. I mean, you haven't been here in a year and a half. So I asked him, I said, well, you're going to teach it, right? Since you know it. And he said, no, I'm not. I'm too busy for that. You guys teach it, but here's the book you're going to do. And it's like, no, I'm not. This is like, that's the feather, that's the straw that broke the back. But it had been a long time coming. And
And
so I knew
then,
I had to leave. So then I go to
yeah.
church where I was welcomed in a Methodist church where I grew up, and I know I'd feel at home there. So, but I mean, it was seriously weird with a lot of Ghostbusters stuff. Like they were going to go in and chase evil spirits out of this one, the member's daughter's house, and I mean, taking it seriously. Like they had some kid that didn't they try and perform an exorcism on?
Yes, I witnessed the exorcism. The exorcism story was pretty crazy because I was at a youth all night lock-in because I used to be involved with youth ministry there. We had a kid who, hey, Kentucky girl, who was just there and stoned. He was just stoned out of his gourd. I knew the kid because this was a small southern town we're living in. And I knew he was just stoned out of his gourd. They started doing an exorcism on him and he started throwing up. It was the craziest thing I've literally ever seen. Later, I talked to the kid and said, what was that all about? He said, I was just high. Just high. I was just so high I couldn't walk.
But I mean,
So,
it was so that they were so really getting way out, and the church actually split. Like half of them believed in the Toronto Airport Christian Fellowship, the serious miracles and stuff, and followed that way. And then the other half were like, no, no, and there would be arguments. And then our best friend, his wife, got up and spoke one time, and a bunch of them just walked out. They wouldn't just because. I mean, they're just
and
making
we
an
went
effort.
back there to see our best
Yeah,
friend's wife speak.
and it's like, gosh, I mean, this is somebody you've been friends with. You won't, they were jealous. There were like jealousies and stuff. It was just, I guess, taking place on steroids or something. I don't know. But it was like, this is not what it's about. So I'm so glad we left. And then eventually it just fell apart. And then I guess some stayed. And then I don't know, now they've joined up. But it was such a relief to get out, even though it's scary. I mean, this is where we've been 11 years. This church was like a 1,300 member church, and look around like first time you go to any church, it's like, oh geez. But I said, no, I got to do it. I got to get away from. And then eventually, Suzanne and the kids came.
Yeah, happened when he left. They told me I didn't control my husband well enough. And this was after years of them saying to me stuff like, if you were any kind of a decent wife, he would believe this way. He would be a better person. He would join with us in doing all this stuff. So there's this expectations heaped on women in particular in Quiverful to control their husbands, even though you're told to be submissive. And God knows I was told to be submissive a number of times. And our relationship does not work very well, I discovered, when I'm 100% submissive.
Oh yeah.
And you have to do all the decisions and all that. No, it never did work.
How do your sensei?
My sensei, no, he likes to say it as a joke, but we've always joked around about that. It's the kind of relationship
it become a cult where there's no
you can't say the C word. You have to say
an
say
old K.
CULT.
K-N-Y, an old K.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then okay.
I mean, to where there's no, or like when politics came up, there's no, they were all very fundamentalist right wing. So you really felt the heat of you. So you don't even bother. But eventually it's like, you get very uncomfortable. There's no wiggle room at all. It's just,
you have to,
smothering.
and they would put voting guides from Intercessors for America on all the pews, and you were ordered pretty much to vote that way, whether you liked it or not.
But it's sad because I would say it really changed because again, when I first went there, it was a good time and I made great friends. And then over time, and then it just kind of went progressively downhill. And then when the fighting started, and just disagreeing. It was just ugly.
And then you left, and they told me to divorce you and all this other nonsense.
The pastor
The
did.
pastor said this. It was time to leave. We knew it was time to leave at that point. And, I was telling you the other day about how the pastor was trying to push everybody on worship team, but now I think they're insane.
We began to notice that anybody that came to
They
visit
said
would
that
not stay.
no one stayed.
It's only this group. There's no new blood. So it's only, and then when they started fighting with each other, it's like, oh, this is.
And they started
what it's about.
Creating all kinds of factions. You couldn't hang out with certain people if you didn't go along with it. I had a long time, very close friend that came to me at one point and said, "You have to stop going to Toronto Airport Christian Fellowship because it's demonic and I can't be your friend," which is really all kinds of frightening and stupid.
Yeah, I mean, we've kept one covenants with.
That's the ones where